The headlines of VTV News. National Assembly discusses 2022 state budget settlement. The State Bank of Vietnam affirms capacity to stabilize gold market. And later on in our world news, dozens dead in Israeli airstrike on UNRWA school in Gaza.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VTV News, coming live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Pham, and here's the top news of the hour. Continuing its 7th meeting, the 15th National Assembly discussed approving the state budget settlement for 2022 on Friday morning. More to follow.
During the National Assembly's 7th meeting, deputies praised the government's synchronous and urgent solutions to implement the state budget estimate during this period. They proposed solutions to remove obstacles in budget expenditure.
All three important indicators have been achieved and exceeded our expectations. First, revenue in 2022 was very high, increasing to 28.8%. Second, the actual spending in 2022 was lower than the estimate. Third, the budget deficit was economical, and spending was also lower than the spending target set by the National Assembly.
I propose more regulations to allow localities to use local budgets for tasks listed under the central budget spending. For example, many national highways have deteriorated but failed to receive funding from the central budget.
The current regulations is that the Ministry of Transport receives road repair and maintenance funding. If we decentralize roads to provinces with national highways passing through, those provinces can work with the Ministry of Transport to do so. Then, provinces need to transfer information and documents to the Ministry of Finance so that we can allocate budgets in a timely manner.
Regarding the draft resolution on piloting specific mechanisms and policies to develop Da Nang City, many deputies support the establishment of the free trade zone in the city.
Over the past 30 years, free trade zones have prospered and contributed to developing countries such as Singapore, China, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia. The most important thing is connections inside and outside the commercial area, since there will be many human interactions and goods.
Even though it is a free trade zone, we still need to have regulations in the state management for it. Since mechanisms and policies for this area are specific, there should be a specific management mechanism.
The afternoon session saw the National Assembly review a revised draft on the law on preventing and combating human trafficking. The draft comprises 8 chapters, 66 articles, and 9 additional articles.
State President Tô Lâm on Friday afternoon received ambassadors, charter affairs of the European Union and member countries in Hanoi, wishing to congratulate him on being elected state president of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam.
State President Tô Lâm thanked the senior EU leaders and ambassadors for their good wishes and affirmed that the EU is an important partner in Vietnam's foreign policy. The Vietnamese leader asked the ambassadors to continue promoting the exchange of delegations at all levels, especially high-level exchanges, promoting existing cooperation to implement signed cooperation agreements, strengthening cooperation in responding to global issues, and prioritizing the just energy transition partnership. The state president also urged the remaining EU countries to ratify the EU-Vietnam Investment Protection Agreement and the European Commission to remove the IUU yellow card for Vietnamese seafood exports soon. The top leader also affirmed that Vietnam is ready to act as a bridge between the EU and the ASEAN region and vice versa, and hoped that the EU and its member countries continue to strongly support resolving disputes in the East Sea peacefully per international law UNCLOS 1982. On behalf of the ambassadors, Short Affairs, EU Ambassador Julien Guerre congratulated State President Tô Lâm on his new position. He confirmed that Vietnam is one of the EU's important partners in the Indo-Pacific regions. The ambassador affirmed the development of Vietnam-EU relations and aimed to elevate Vietnam-EU relations shortly. Under the leadership of State President Tô Lâm, the EU ambassador believed that Vietnam and EU countries would together make important contributions to peace, security, and stability in the region and globally.
National Assembly Chair Trần Thanh Mẫn attended a ceremony to award 40-year and 30-year party badges to leaders, officers, and party members of the Party Committee of the National Assembly Office. During the ceremony, the 40-year party badge was awarded to National Assembly Vice Chair Nguyễn Đức Hải and the 30-year party badge to other members of the National Office. National Assembly Chair Trần Thanh Mẫn emphasized that these awards represent the party's recognition of their dedication, solidarity, responsibility, and perseverance in overcoming difficulties to fulfill their duties. He hoped these officers would successfully implement the goals, tasks, and resolutions set by the party, the National Assembly, and the government. He also encouraged them to keep contributing to enhancing the effectiveness of the National Assembly and its agencies in performing legislative, supervisory, and decision-making functions on important national issues. The 27th St. Petersburg International Economic Forum is being held in St. Petersburg, Russia, with the Vietnamese delegation headed by Deputy Prime Minister Trần Lưu Quang in attendance. The Deputy Prime Minister praised Russian President Vladimir Putin's Greater Asia-Europe Partnership initiative to connect regional economic integration processes and spread benefits to all parties. He emphasized all countries' need for solidarity, cooperation, and responsible behavior to overcome world challenges. The Russian Deputy Prime Minister said cooperation must be based on equality, mutual benefit, mutual respect, and compliance with the UN Charter and international law. He proposed that countries leading in economic connectivity share their experience and help developing countries like Vietnam formulate policy, access resources, apply technology, develop digital and green infrastructure, and train high-quality human resources. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính has requested that the Ministry of Industry and Trade, relevant ministries and agencies review the legislation governing the management of e-commerce. He stated that this was necessary to promote and further improve the state's effectiveness and efficiency in e-commerce management and trade on digital platforms. The Prime Minister directed the Ministry of Finance to continue reducing administrative procedures, facilitating declaration and deposit, and optimizing the customs clearance process for import and export goods via e-commerce. He further requested that they promote tax collection to prevent tax loss and strengthen inspection and examination of live stream sales. The Prime Minister stated the Ministry of Public Security must synchronize population data with civil status, tax, and banking data to help the identification and authentication of individuals and prevent fraud and tax evasion, ensuring economic security and order in electronic transactions and e-commerce. In 2023, tax collection in the e-commerce sector was nearly $3.8 billion, an increase of more than 16% compared to 2022. According to the government's project number 6, this effort is mainly due to authentication and management through personal identification codes. Many relevant ministries and sectors have connected data to manage all e-commerce activities closely. However, there is still a significant rate of tax loss from e-commerce activities on social networks.
With data matched from ID card tax codes to bank accounts, make the owner of an online shop on e-commerce platforms a part of the online tax payment group.
From 2018 to 2023, I have to pay taxes and pay a late payment amount of nearly $12,800 US.
Whether accidentally or intentionally, individuals and businesses are still not fulfilling their tax obligations. According to the Ministry of Finance, about 31,570 cases are subject to tax review. The ministry has collected taxes and pursued violations in nearly 22,160 cases, generating an additional $113 million in tax receipts.
We should get tax identifications as part of the citizen's identification card. Payment data must also be synchronized with the ID.
In the first 5 months of 2024, companies like Meta, Google, YouTube, and TikTok paid more than $156 million in taxes. With this additional payment, accumulated from March 2022, foreign businesses paid $610 million. Tax revenue through e-commerce remains substantial, yet easily overlooked.
We have informed businesses through many channels. We directly support foreign suppliers when detecting revenues or contact through embassies and suppliers' headquarters.
From January 1st, 2025, the Ministry of Finance will additionally apply the use of citizen identification numbers as tax codes following the government's Project 06. This solution will also make tax reviews more convenient and ensure all individuals and businesses can pay taxes online.
Coming up next, State Bank of Vietnam affirms capacity to stabilize gold market. And coal industry adopts energy-saving measures. Welcome back to VTV News. The State Bank of Vietnam, or SBV, said it is working closely with law enforcement authorities to investigate and take strict actions against speculative and manipulative behaviors in the market. With so many people still lining up to buy gold, the central bank has officially announced that it has the necessary resources and resolve to stabilize the gold market and control the gap between domestic and global gold prices at an appropriate level. It has observed individuals hiring people to buy golds at selling points, aiming to drive up prices and profit from the price differential, causing instability. The central bank coordinates with authorities to verify and handle these speculative, manipulative behaviors. The SBV is also urgently inspecting credit institutions and gold businesses, especially in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, to address violations. The Vietnam National Coal and Mineral Industries Group, or Vinacomin, consumes nearly 700 million kilowatt-hour of electricity annually for coal mining. Recently, particularly during the peak summer months, several units within the group have adopted power-saving strategies. These aim to reduce unnecessary energy consumption and enhance labor productivity and business efficiency.
Around 20 to 40% of energy consumption in underground mining comes from the mine ventilation system, with its main fans operating 24/7 at depths exceeding 100 meters. To address the overconsumption of energy, the company has installed additional soft starters and frequency converters. These add-ons have helped to cut back on 20% of electricity.
These power-saving measures extend to all our large-capacity equipment, including the fans, main conveyors, and water pumps. As a result, in 2023, we reduced our energy use to 21.5 kilowatts, a big drop from the planned 22 kilowatts. We saved up to $39,400 on energy bills.
This open-pit coal mining company has also installed an all-around surveillance system and GPS positioning to monitor mine operations. This system is connected to the company's general control center.
GPS devices are incorporated into our equipment's internal workings. Along with the surveillance system, they oversee fuel control, equipment usage, and production efficiency. Annually, these measures result in a 1 to 5% reduction in total electricity consumption.
As part of the broader energy saving and efficiency program from 2020 to 2030, with a vision extended to 2050, VTVgo aims to save 5 to 7% of its total energy consumption.
The coal industry is adopting the ISO 50001-2018 energy management model, a global standard that optimizes energy use. At the same time, it is adopting fuel consumption standards for coal transport and distribution. Machinery and equipment undergo regular maintenance and technological upgrades.
The company produces over 40 million tons of raw coal annually, which accounts for about 85% of the country's coal production. Its switch to power-efficient production methods will reduce dependence on imported energy, lower greenhouse gas emissions, and ensure national energy security.
Most sections of the Ho Chi Minh Road project are operational from Pak Bo in Cao Bằng to Đất Mũi in Cà Mau. The Ministry of Transport on Thursday commenced construction on the Chợ Chu Trung Sơn intersection, the final section of this extensive artery road. This crucial segment is expected to add some of the project's final stretches of road.
The $63 million Chợ Chu Trung Sơn section begins at Chợ Chu town in Định Hóa district, Thái Nguyên province, and ends in the Trung Sơn intersection in Yên Sơn district, Tuyên Quang province. It spans 29 kilometers, and construction is underway across the entire section.
Local authorities have facilitated construction by ensuring the timely handover of premises.
Contractors and consultants are already setting up camps and laboratories to expedite the work.
Thanks to the investors' commitment to mobilizing maximum resources, the project is expected to be completed by next year. In 2024, Vietnam's investment in transport infrastructure is expected to make up 2/3 of the country's public investment capital. The focus on dispersing public investment and launching transportation projects aims to boost growth and create new development opportunities.
The government has directed the development of expressways, major routes, and ring roads. These vital arteries will rigorously enhance inter-regional connectivity.
This year, the Ministry of Transport is tasked with dispersing approximately $2.9 billion in public investment with a 100% disbursement rate. This effort will prove foundational in launching key projects like the North-South Expressway by next year.
The mausoleum of President Ho Chi Minh and the nearby monument for heroic martyrs in Hanoi will be closed from June the 10th to August the 12th for yearly maintenance, according to its management board. Since its inauguration in 1975, the mausoleum has been a magnet for Vietnamese and foreigners alike. This year, more than 61,000 people, including almost 4,000 foreigners, paid tribute to the late president at his mausoleum during the 5-day national reunification and May Day holidays. Phong Nha Kẻ Bàng has more than 1,000 caves, which will take more than 30 years to record and measure. This is the latest assessment of the British Royal Cave Research Association. Up to now, 447 caves have been surveyed and found to measure 246 kilometers. In the next 30 years, more surveys and measurements will be conducted on more than 1,000 caves. The head of the British Royal Cave Research Association, Howard Limbert, assessed Phong Nha Kẻ Bàng is a place where the global value of the caves is exceptional, elevating of the image of Vietnam to the world. VTV's hotlines recently received phone calls suggesting meaningful stories in various localities. Among these tip-offs is the timely launching of free Gaolan language classes as the ethnic language is struggling to survive. A village elder teaches the class and is strongly supported by the authorities and locals. How is it run, and what does this class mean to locals? Join us in the following story to learn more.
The lyrics of Gaolan epic are being taught to the younger generation. All the words are transcribed into Vietnamese. Girls learn the ethnic language through songs. Boys learn through songs offerings to the gods. Teenagers and middle-aged people have joined the class. Each lesson lasts more than 2 hours.
I joined this class to preserve my ethnic identity. They taught me things, morals, how to do good things, love the young and respect the elderly.
This special class also includes the leader of Quang Yin Common, who is also a member of Gaolan ethnic group. Over the past few months, Quang has come to class almost every night.
As a local leader, I have to be a role model. I want young and future generations to be responsible. They must learn and retain the culture of Gaolan ethnic people.
Gaolan is an ethnic group with its own language and writing, but it's very difficult to use. Due to a lack of practice, people have forgotten the language. Meanwhile, according to Gaolan tradition, they are required to use the ethnic language to perform worship rituals. To preserve the traditions of his people, Lợi, a village elder, also asked the authorities for permission to open free classes to teach the Gaolan language.
What I'm most excited about is that some children can now say their prayers on full moon days and the Lunar New Year. Many adults can also pray for their children.
We highly appreciate his spirit in preserving ethnic and cultural identity. The authorities will direct the commune committee to create the best conditions for him to promote this model.
2 Gaolan language classes have been opened with dozens of students enrolled. These children will be the generation that maintains and develops the spirit and identity of Gaolan people.
Coming up next in our world news, dozens dead in Israeli airstrike on UNRWA school in Gaza. And Tokyo develops a dating app to encourage marriage and childbirth. At least 37 people have been killed and dozens more injured in an Israeli airstrike on a United Nations school in Gaza. Israel's military has confirmed it attacked a building belonging to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in Near East. It added that it carried out a precise airstrike on targets who were hiding out in the school. However, Hamas accused the Israeli military of attacking a school sheltering displaced people. The U.S. later urged Israel to disclose details related to the airstrike, including the possibility of child casualties. Claudia Sheinbaum won a landslide victory to become Mexico's first female president, according to the official voting results delivered by Mexico's electoral authority. Sheinbaum, former mayor of Mexico City, won the presidency with 59.7% of the vote. That is said to be the highest vote percentage in Mexico's democratic history. Sheinbaum is the first woman to win a general election in North America. She will formally take office on October the 1st after being approved by the Mexican Electoral Court of the Federal Judicial Branch. In her election campaign, Sheinbaum vowed to inherit the legacy of incumbent President López Obrador, especially in terms of social security. Veterans and world leaders have gathered in Normandy, France to mark the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings on June the 6th, 1944. This is history's largest amphibious invasion, where more than 150,000 Allied soldiers arrived in France by sea and air. This amphibious campaign officially established the Western Front, which, combined with the Eastern Front, led by the Soviet Union, created a pincer movement that drove out the forces of Nazi Germany. Less than a year after the landing, Nazi Germany was defeated and Europe was completely liberated. Thousands of Allied soldiers died in the landing and the subsequent battles. Marriage is on the decline in Japan as the country's birth rate fell to an all-time low, according to Health Ministry data. However, the Tokyo City Hall seeks to encourage marriage and childbirth by developing a dating app called Tokyo Futari Story. The new initiative is the latest in an exciting series of efforts to matchmake in a country where it is increasingly common to be alone.
Tokyo Futari Story is set to debut later this year and be accessible through phone or the web. Japanese media reports said the app will require identity confirmation, such as a driver's license, tax records to prove income, and a signed form confirming one is ready to get married.
There's a situation in which people want to get married but don't want to bother with romance and want to skip it. The demand for finding just a marriage partner is increasing, especially in Tokyo, which is the most likely place for that as there are many younger people.
While dating apps will benefit citizens, some are concerned this wouldn't be the solution.
I think it's a good initiative. I've used a dating app myself, but many people impersonate others.
Tokyo City Hall also sponsors events where singles can meet and couples can get marriage counseling. However, a recent survey in Tokyo reveals that 70% of individuals desiring marriage are not actively engaging in events or using apps to find a partner. Therefore, city officials hope introducing a new application will motivate these individuals to seek out their significant others.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. Goodbye for now.